Gil Martin here. The Locked On Road to the NHL trade deadline continues. The Chicago Blackhawks have traded Patrick Kane to the New York Rangers in exchange for a 2023 second-round pick and a 2023 fourth-round pick, but there are conditions on both of them. Here to discuss this trade from a Blackhawks perspective, the host of Locked On Chicago Blackhawks, Jack Bushman. Jack, it's got to be a bittersweet day for Blackhawks fans and for the Blackhawks organization. Your take on the trade of Patrick Kane?
Yeah, I've taken these last couple hours to kind of think about it all. And Patrick Kane was someone who I know I'm not alone when I say this. He impacted a lot of people here in Chicago. But I just think about all the memories I had growing up as a kid. And really, he was kind of the main reason why I fell in love with the game of hockey and fell in love with the Chicago Blackhawks. And I was even just having those thoughts today, like legitimately without Patrick Kane, I probably wouldn't be here having this conversation with you, Gil. That's why I got his jersey hanging up in the background right now. Some of my listeners out there may know my dog recently passed away a few months ago, almost made it to 14 years old. I named him Kane back before any of the Stanley Cups, before any of the Conn Smythes and any of that. So it was pretty cool to see everything that he was able to accomplish along the way. And as you referenced, it definitely is bittersweet that it's the end of an era here in Chicago. And I don't think many people really ever thought that Patrick Kane would play anywhere else other than in a Blackhawks sweater. But obviously, with everything they've gone through the past couple of years, it felt more and more likely leading up to this trade deadline. And we knew that this was coming in the past couple of days. I think some Blackhawks fans were kind of holding out some hope that maybe this was just a bad dream or something. But it's a tough pill to swallow, Gil, and definitely even tougher considering they didn't get the most luxurious return for Patrick Kane. So, yeah, that was adding a little bit of salt to the wound. A tough day for us Blackhawks fans here, but another move made by Kyle Davidson where he's thinking about the future. And as we talked about after the Sam Lafferty and Jake McCabe trade, it's the name of the game right now for the Blackhawks.
No question about that. And I think you also have to take into consideration the fact that Kane said he would only accept a trade to the New York Rangers, and that takes away a lot of leverage for the Blackhawks.
Yeah, Kyle Davidson had literally zero leverage in this circumstance. Everyone knew it was New York Rangers or bust down the stretch here. And Chris Jury, general manager for the Rangers, it's just good business on his part. He's not going to give away primetime assets when he knows that Kyle Davidson's only other option, if he's not going to trade Kane to New York, is they're going to probably let him walk for nothing in return come free agency. So at the end of the day, this was absolutely better than getting nothing in return, Gil. I know there are some Blackhawks fans out there frustrated that maybe it wasn't as hefty as they wanted, especially considering how iconic Patrick Kane is to this franchise, and not even get a first out of it. Potentially they could. We'll touch on that in a second, but I know that's frustrating to some Blackhawks fans. But Kyle Davidson literally couldn't have done anything better than this. Honestly, this was probably a better return than I think people had thought that he was going to get in the past couple of days. So it doesn't seem ideal, but at the end of the day, Blackhawks fans, you have to realize this was Kyle Davidson's only option. If he let Patrick Kane walk away for nothing in return, it's just a bad business move. And those are the types of decisions that bad general managers make. And Kyle Davidson simply just couldn't do that this early on in his tenure. It wouldn't have been beneficial for the franchise moving forward. So it's kind of, it is what it is situation. That's what the Blackhawks were going to get. It just wasn't going to be an ideal return, sadly.
Let's talk about those conditional picks and how the conditions trigger or don't trigger. I know that second round pick can become a first. How does that happen?
Yeah, so if the Rangers do make it to the Eastern Conference Final this year, that conditional 2023 second round pick will become a first round pick, but not in the 2023 NHL draft, sadly. It'll become a first in either 2024 or 2025. It would have been nice, to get another pick in 2023, but you still can't be too mad if you add another first round pick eventually. So we're going to be rooting for Patrick Kane and the Rangers. I know many Blackhawks fans aren't huge fans of their captain, Jacob Trouba, after he had a really bad hit last year on Jujhar Khaira. So it's going to be tough for Blackhawks fans to be rooting for that team, but it will do them some good if the Rangers are able to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. That would give them 7 first-round picks over the next 3 years. That's how you rebuild.
Yeah, that is definitely the way to rebuild. So be sure to check out Locked On Blackhawks for more on this trade and all things Chicago Blackhawks, and keep it dialed to Locked On NHL all along the road to the NHL trade deadline. This is the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.